Oh, here they all come. This is awesome. Hello, everybody. How are you? Fabulous. Hi, Bo.
Hey, Matt.
Hello, Solomon. Solomon, where you at?
Yeah.
There
Can you
you
see me?
are. You look like you're cold. What the hell?
I'm in Bogota. It's very cold.
Oh, south of the equator, you're in winter. Sucks for you.
Well,
I
they don't have seasons here.
What do they have? They just have
It's just cold.
just really? Oh, that's right. Because what's your altitude there?
Like 3,000 meters.
Can you convert that to something an American would understand?
I don't know, like 50 million feet up. Let me see.
Making 50
8,600 square feet. 8,600 feet above sea level.
Okay, well, I feel bad for you, but not really. Come on. Wholesale deal. Let's see. Copy.
How's everybody doing?
I am great. I'm cold, but great.
Going live. All right. We're just about ready to go, everybody. So, something went wrong. Reload your page. Thank you, Facebook. You are such a pain in my assets. Oh, come on. This is lovely. Oh, screw you, Facebook. Oh. Drama. All right, whatever. We'll try to get over here. Apparently, it's live streaming. I just can't see it. Whatever. Is Stephanie on? Does she know? Can she tell me if it's going or something? Can anybody see us on Facebook? No? Yes?
It's not saying live on Facebook.
It is on my end, which is the weird part. Well, we will. Oh, and there I am. Fabulous. Hello, Hector and Fred on the Facebook site and blah, blah, blah. The internet is amazing with you. So good times. Wonderful. So today with us, we have our life of the party. What I do? What? Oh, that's my own Facebook telling me stuff. Our life of the party, Mr. Salomon Roybal, who was one of the students with Elite that I happen to know from Florida. Now, when he enrolled, you were in Florida, but you were in California, moving to Florida, and you did your first deal in Texas. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Deal. Okay. This is going to be a lot of fun to go through, so I'm trying to let people stall to get in here because it's actually going to be a really cool conversation. So, but now, Salomon, you are quite a chronic entrepreneur, even though that you've been, you're only like 12 years old.
Yes. I'm 13, by the way.
13, I thought so. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Take my birthday.
Yeah. So now that you take care, tell us a little bit more. How did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Well, the entrepreneur side came from my mom. Growing up, she always had bridal stores. So she was always a small business owner. She, at one point in Los Angeles, she had she had 4 stores going, where each one was in different sectors of Los Angeles. But she wasn't really doing well with them. She was producing a lot of money and moving a lot of product, but she never had that, she's more like, I'm going to go do it. I'm not going to do the accounting. I'm not going to do any of the back end work. So she would make $200,000 a year, but spend $198,000. So, through that, she ended up finding network marketing. Once she got sick, when she was done with the store, she ended up finding network marketing. And that's where she found Robert Kiyosaki. She found all the mindset, all the financial literacy part of entrepreneurship. And she started really getting into that. And at the same time, that's when my sister and I were already, we're getting into high school, getting into that age where now we're starting to understand a lot of stuff. So while she was doing network marketing, we went to college, we finished out college, and coming out of college, I was just like, okay, I have 2 options. I'm gonna use my sociology degree, would go back to LA and work as a like CPS officer or some kind of HR position, right? And make $50,000 a year. Or I'm gonna go to network marketing because my mom's making that in a month. So, you know, the math was real simple. I just decided to go follow her steps. And with that, she just kind of, you know, she really pushed the educational part on it because she did just the blind grind part of it. And then she did the educational. So when we got into it, she was able to just teach us, go straight into the education, learn first, and then go grind and go do what you need to do.
So that was fun. So your mother was like an old school entrepreneur. She just dove in, figured it out, and then earned her bumps and bruises along the way,
Yeah.
which is what she was trying to make a little easier for you and your sister. You learned by example, and you guys all adjusted to do something better.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, that's quite a legacy, because sometimes the best things you can teach your kids are what not to do.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my
Yeah.
God, these things look horrible. What happened back here? This was really pretty at some point. I don't know why who's gonna turn you around. I water these things, I swear to God. Florida's like, well, whatever. Florida likes to travel. I'll just sit in front of them. Is that better? Yeah? Okay.
That looks so pretty.
To be also very clear, this is not my style of dining chair. I just happened to rent a place that was furnished and it came this way. Not that I want you judging me, but I know there's some jealous bitches out there and homos can be a little bit, judgmental. So I let you know, my stuff's gorgeous when I have it. So not the point. You have to kind of just pick your battles when you're doing a nonprofit. So I wanted to talk to you about a little bit, since you saw your mother doing everything and she gave you you said mindset, how she shifted her mindset into being an actual entrepreneur, a business owner that had systems, kept track of what they were doing. You have to really keep your house, like your business house, just as well, if not better, than your own personal home, like your own personal accounting and financial attitude, stuff like that. And if you enjoy being at home, you can enjoy being at work. It's that mindset shift.
Yeah.
What did you observe from her doing that you took into your own business that made your transition so much easier to being an entrepreneur?
Well, with me and my mom are very much alike in that
you both have a mustache?
Hers isn't as full. I have the prettiest mustache in the family.
I'm very glad for that. Yeah. Other people call it a hormone deficiency.
Yeah. We're the type of people, we set up a plan and we'll just go straight. We'll run 100 miles an hour towards that plan until we hit a wall. And then we'll pivot and go to the next plan, right? So with her, since she was running her business that way, I kind of had to learn. Although I did the same thing, I ran full speed. I had to learn to say, okay, let me take a step back. Let me wait and see what I can do right. Let me learn. Let me ask some questions if I get caught up or if I'm having a hard time. And that was really like the biggest lesson that she was able to teach me, is to stop and ask a question when I'm having a hard time, not just run in circles or not just run in different directions trying to figure out a solution.
That's very impressive that you can say that, because most people are so scared to ask for help. I was the same way. I was absolutely the same way. Because you don't want to look embarrassed like you don't know something, and because you don't want people to think that you aren't capable, right? So it's a very vulnerable place to be. But the thing is, no one knows everything. And if you're actually honest with yourself, that's a good thing. You want people who can just say, hey, I don't know that answer. Let me go find out and I'll get back with you.
Yeah.
And knowing that you have the resources to find that out. There's been a very visible change in our organization since we've all been doing that together. It's been very, very cool. Do you guys, everyone here participating here and on Facebook, do you guys feel that learning to ask for help and knowing you're good at a couple of things but not everything has helped you guys building your business lately? A group?
Everybody's on mute.
They can unmute themselves. They're just sitting there watching, their incognito browsers. Dan, give me a thumbs up. At least I got her doing it. Fantastic. Oh, I'm watching on Facebook, by the way, so that might be a little delayed. But anybody else can actually say something of what they've experienced, so please participate.
I don't think they're live on Facebook.
I know, I'm trying to fix that right now. So I'm having people participate so I can solve and fix the Facebook issue, but that means you have to unmute yourself to help me out. Just saying.
Yes, today was wonderful. I helped Marlon do a market analysis on a deal he's looking at. And I am more comfortable asking for help on other issues.
That's been huge.
Yeah, right.
So what are you surprised that you do know? Let me rephrase this. Who's coming to you for your expertise? Like, what expertise do you have to offer the group that you didn't know you had?
Who are you asking that to?
I'm asking her.
Oh, okay.
To Pamela, yes. Well, the thing is, they are asking me what I knew was my expertise, my real estate knowledge, and being able to look at it, analyze it, and maybe give some tips on what they should be asking before putting in an offer.
Yeah.
So,
And it's funny because it's even though you've never really met me before this, how much you already know. Does that give you confidence or surprise? Or both?
oh no, it gives me confidence. What's better is
Honey, move your finger. You're on the microphone. It's like you're fingering the phone the wrong way.
Okay? Sorry, can you hear me better now?
Kind of, yes.
No, hold on. Fix these damn things from falling out of my ear.
Damn it. We're with you.
So yeah, it's great to know that I can, reach out to a number of people in the group for anything that I think I need. Help with REI Black Book or marketing, anything. I don't think twice about it.
It's so much easier.
And it's so much. It is. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. But part of it, Jacob, is like you said, knowing that I have something I can offer up. So I feel comfortable asking for help because I always tell people, if you need something, ask me. If I can do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, and all we're doing is actually calling people out so we can do it. That's kind of funny.
Right.
Like,
stuff I'm used to doing. So it's like not a problem, It's just, if I have the time, I think I helped Marlon out in 15 minutes and we had a great conversation.
So much more. You guys are all so much fun, which I like, which is awesome. So what I want to go on and do, because I think we are now finally live on Facebook, I want to make sure we get to some of the meat of this, which is awesome. So we're going to fast forward from Salomon going through puberty. He now starts going through financial education. Now, you were already doing entrepreneurial activities. What was your first business?
I've always, my only and first business was network marketing.
Network marketing. So what's interesting is Aaron Adams, by the way, I have an announcement. I will get to that by the end of the call. Don't go anywhere. We've got some exciting news coming up. I call that a hook. But Aaron Adams says if you have a $1 million MLM mindset, you have a $4 million real estate mind. Mm-hmm. Kind of cool, right? So anyway, so tell us more. You were always in multi-level marketing, and why did you find that to be something that you are talented with? Resonating with you, whatever you want to call it?
Honestly, it wasn't that I found that I was good at it or that, I wanted to be a network marketer. It was greedy. It was greed. When I was coming out of college, I was looking at my sociology degree. I was looking at the jobs I was going to be able to have in LA with it, and they just weren't going to pay me enough. They were going to pay me $45,000, $50,000 a year. And in LA, you have like 15 different types of taxes. You have different like local taxes and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you're making like $15. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to live a lifestyle comfortable with that amount of money. I knew I wasn't going to be happy in those type of jobs. So, when I was looking at work, my mom was working in the company that we're at right now, Longevity, and she was making what I was going to make in a year. She was making that in a few months. she had months where she was making more than that in 1 month. So I was like, okay, well, that's not a very difficult decision, right? I'm just going to go do what she's doing. She's obviously she's making more money than I am with less education, and she's traveling the world. So I called her up and I said, hey, I'm going to do what you're doing. I don't know what it is, but let me know how I start. And first thing she did, tell me, you have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So as I was, what's that?
That's such great advice already, which I love.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you're going to just the real estate side right away, people are like, this sounds great. I want to do this. How? Because it tells you like nothing about how to do real estate, just that you really want to do it. But it doesn't really matter if you're doing real estate or stock or even any type of entrepreneurship. The principles are the same. It's such a big thing about your mindset. And your mindset as an entrepreneur and as an investor is like a muscle. You have to keep working it out. You can't just like read the book once and think you've got everything and then you're done with it. No, you have to keep exposing yourself to those insights and those strategies and perceptions. I'm just using analogies now. But how many times have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Probably like 10.
Right?
Yeah, because I started 3.5 years ago. I listened to it twice before I moved back to LA. I listened to it on the way to LA. And then through that, I listened to it about twice a year. So it's just one of those refresher books where, I listen to it at the beginning of the year and midway through the year. So I'm actually finishing up a book right now, and Rich Dad Poor Dad is my next book again. Because,
what are you reading right now?
Millionaire Mindset.
I'd love to buy T. Harv
Eker.
Yeah, T. Harv Eker. I was like, what's this? Yeah, I've read that. I have it on audiobook too.
Yeah.
I like it. Actually, we're doing a book club for The Buddha and the Badass, and the author of that book said he had one of his big epiphanies that launched his business at at the Millionaire Mindset seminar, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
I said.
Yeah.
So let's continue with what we're doing here. So 3.5 years ago, you got into you found yourself at a seminar where you decided to enroll in education, and you learned enough. But then you guys kind of veered. Tell us how you guys started. What happened that made you veer? And then we're going to get into your first deal that you did.
So, in our family, we have a very balanced, influences, right? My dad's very academic. He's very, he'll read 4 or 5 hours a day at the library, but he's reading like real dense political stuff, Shakespeare, all these kind of like Russian novelists, right? Any kind of like academic stuff. My mom's the entrepreneur. So growing up, we've always had that balance of, we had the educational background from my dad and we had the entrepreneurial spirit from my mom. And mixing that, you just get two people that are very ambitious and always have a vision for wanting a lot more in life. So when we took the courses with elite education, we came out of that. And the first thing we thought of was, okay, let's start a hedge fund.
That was your first thought.
We should start a hedge fund. And you know what? That comes from network marketing, right? In network marketing, you learn that a collective is a lot better than what you can do for yourself.
Well, we know that to be the truth.
Yeah. So, we're thinking, okay, if we can pull $100,000 and invest it in a property, if we can get 10 people to put $10,000 in, then we can get 2 properties. So we just always had that kind of like mindset, right? So we went through the courses. My sister really gravitated towards the stock market courses because she has an astrophysics background. So for her, sitting in front of a computer 10 hours a day isn't a bother. I can't be in front of a computer for more than 15 minutes without my legs starting to shake. So I need to be out and talking to people and interacting with people. So I found myself gravitating more towards real estate. And, with that, we just found a really good balance for our own personal finances, where she'll focus on investing in the real estate side or in the stock markets. And I focus in the real estate side, finding deals, analyzing the deals. And then I pull the money out of her stock portfolio to go do those deals.
Ooh, so did you guys just catch what he just said? how he's able to use stock and real estate in conjunction to generate wealth? Let's listen to the rest of this, which is very cool. So your sister's portfolio was stock. Do you remember how much you guys started that portfolio with?
15,000.
15,000 or $15?
No, 15,000.
Okay. And how has that grown since you guys got educated and have been trading full time?
So, the first year of her trading history was all practice. She went live probably about 2-3 times and lost money right away. But the good thing is that she never stopped, right? She would just go back to paper money, keep trying, keep studying. And now, this year she went full-time live trading, and she's been having really phenomenal returns. She found her niche in futures, and, she's just, every day she's having profits now. Yeah. So I actually don't know what the percentages are. I know that she's averaging about like 2,500 a day.
2,500 a day in profits?
Yeah. So she's doing really well. I don't know what percentage that is. I don't know what percent return it is. I haven't talked to her about it, but yeah. But it comes from her practicing for a year and a half, right? She spent a whole year and a half in paper money, really just going at it. And now she has, she's having the results, she's having the returns. And now we're starting to go moving around, moving the money to real estate, back to stock markets and real estate.
I am so impressed with this right now. We just did a little bit of math. On average, she's making about 75. You guys are making about 75,000 a month in profit, and so then you have access to pull capital out for your deals in real estate.
Yeah.
So this is the interesting fact. They started in real estate, then they found that that his sister was more in stock. They changed focus, but you learned plenty enough as is to get started in real estate.
Yeah.
It doesn't take enough. It doesn't take a lot.
No.
To get going. It's just a matter of how big you're going to dream and see how things are moving. Now, the smaller the numbers, the faster they work. That's the same thing in trading. Like when you look at penny stocks, you can get returns much faster. The risks are much lower, but the returns, even though they're higher returns, they're a smaller dollar value.
Yeah.
We have different strategies that people are learning in our organization where they are doing mobile homes, which are they're high volume because they're quick to move. They're smaller reward profits, but you get it on volume. But you're still having to grind. If you do the same strategies in commercial transactions, they typically take longer, but they're higher returns. But the strategy is the same. The mindset is different. The numbers are the things that are smaller or bigger, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you know which one you're comfortable with doing. If you're just wanting to feel, if you want to feel comfortable, do a couple of small transactions that are fast that keep you out of your head. You just keep yourself in perpetuity. You keep moving. But if you have the cojones to do something bigger, it's the same process. Now, because of your background with MLM and having an entrepreneurial family, you had a little bit more courage to go out and do something different for your first transaction. Now, your first contract, can you tell us about that one?
Yeah. So I just want to touch up real quick on what you were saying, right, about the smaller numbers. So when I left the courses, I started looking at 4 units, right? And we had a spreadsheet and we just plugged in the numbers and it did all the calculations for us. So I was looking at 4 units and I was seeing that the numbers, like the returns weren't really that great, right? One, I was in LA, so a 4 units, like $14 million. But, what I did was I started saying, okay, if I can do a 4 unit, I can just plug in a 5 unit. I can plug in 6 units. I can plug in 7 units. And then I just kept scaling it up to play around with the numbers and see like, okay, well, this really isn't that complicated. It's just more numbers. It's just bigger numbers.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait. Can you say that one more time? Carlos, pay attention. Can you say that one more time for us? It's not that complicated. What was that? Say it again.
It's not more complicated. It's just bigger numbers.
Oh,
So
But the numbers are the scary part because I can't afford it. How did you do $13 million?
yeah. So okay. So my first contract that I got executed was it was 100. No, it was 92 units in at Texas Tech. Well, I forget the city. I forget where that college is at. But it was like 92 units mixed up within like 4 different apartment complexes, and it was for 18 million. So I sent the contract, and I was like, okay, well, they're asking for 18, so I took 25% off the asking price, and I sent the contract. I ended up getting it executed at around like 16.5, something like that.
16.5.
16,500,000.
I want to make sure you guys heard that part. So now you can pee yourself. Okay.
Well, I did pee myself. So, so I remember this moment so clear in my head. I was driving from Weston to West Palm. I was at a red light. My mom was on my side. My sister was in the back seat, and my phone rang. So I looked at it real quick, and I just see the email that says, I forget the name of the complex, but it said it was the contract email being sent back to me. And I opened the attachment, and everything was signed by both parties. And I peed just a little bit. Like, it's just my heart sank. I got really cold. I peed a little bit. And I told my mom, my sister, I was like, I have a contract for $16 million signed. I don't know what to do with it. I was like, well, now what? Right? So yeah, it was the scariest moment of my life. I was like, where the fuck am I going to find $16 million, let alone in Texas? Like, how does this work? Right? I'm in Florida. I worked this deal in LA. I moved to Florida, and then I got it contracted. So I was pretty scared. It was a scary moment. When you see that contract, when you see the price on it, you see all your, you see you have to put $1,000 down, which $1,000 isn't scary, but when it's $1,000 for 16 million, you're like, what? What happens here? So yeah.
That's all you had to put down for earnest money was $1,000.
Yeah, I'm a really good talker.
Welcome to the team.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The most I've ever put down was 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one where I made the 100, but I'll get to that. So
I almost want to ask this question to be, I'm hoping this is the answer. Were you doing that negotiation where you put $5,000 down against a man or a woman?
It was a guy.
That's why. If you went against a woman, you would never only be able to put down $5,000. They're so much better at it. But keep going.
all my deals have been with men, so.
That's unfortunate. My favorite is with women. I'm just saying, girls, go for it. Oh, yeah, and Dick. Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a scary feeling when you see that money and you see that number, but it's not, doing the numbers on a $16 million property with 98 units. It takes more time to evaluate, obviously, but it's the same calculations you're going to make on a 4-unit. But you have so much more potential to flip the contract, make a lot of money off of it, and you have kind of a better, the way I see real estate, single family homes is a kiddie pool and everyone's in it. Like small 2, 3, 4 units, same situation, just that now it's not a kiddie pool. It's one of those like little plastic inflatable ones. And commercial real estate is the ocean, and there's about 3 boats in the water. So to me, it made more sense to do commercial real estate because there wasn't as much competition. You don't have 50 million people bidding for the same property, and you're not dealing with a bunch of amateurs. There's when people are dealing with commercial real estate, the brokers are kind of more, they're more savvy. They know how to work with you. They know how to get you the information you need right away. So to me, it was faster. It was a little faster process because I did try a couple single families and I tried a couple duplexes and fourplex and stuff like that. And just people would come in and just over offer, or they would just do these ridiculous contracts. And I'm like, or the daisy chain effect. Oh my God.
Jesus.
The daisy chain.
They will
where you're
take
dealing
one
with
contract and they will sell it on their wholesale list. Another wholesale will pick up that list and they'll sell it, and they're always adding to it. And the next thing you know, you never know who's direct to the seller, who actually holds the contract.
Yeah.
Annoying.
And you ask a simple question, and it takes like 4 weeks to get the answer because you have to go up the whole daisy chain. So yeah, that was just frustrating. That's frustrating to me. And that's why I stuck with commercial. Even though we've pivoted now, I still do the wholesaling. All my wholesale deals are commercial.
So let's go on to that note. So that was your first contract. Now this is the interesting thing, guys. I want you to pay attention to this part. He has this contract of 90-something units in Texas when he lives in Florida. All right. So he found the deal you found it on Craigslist, didn't you?
Craigslist, yeah.
Okay, so he found the deal on Craigslist, not on LoopNet, not on any other, not from a broker's site. He found it on where? Craigslist. Thank you. The same place I have you guys searching for other properties. Go figure. So you found it on Craigslist, probably under the, misconnections tab or whatever. And you were able to get under contract for 25% less than they were asking. You got it for 16. Now you have a contract. It's your first transaction. You've peed yourself. What happens next?
Well, that one I let go. I remember I never paid the $1,000 because we were still in the courses. Like we were still learning. This was probably like a week and a half after we left the first course. So.
Oh, wait a minute. You took action immediately? Was that what you just heard? Is that what you heard, Stephanie? Did you hear that? Okay. Before you got scared, you took action. Did you hear that, Leanne Nelson? All right. Yeah. It's interesting. You took action immediately, but you still turned into a chicken shit. Keep going.
Yeah. So I got scared. Like I said, I peed myself. You were
bold enough to run the numbers. You weren't bold enough to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had 6 days to do the earnest money. So in those 6 days, I was running scenarios in my head. I was doing all kinds of funky calculations, which never do. Don't fuck with the numbers.
Nope.
Just don't do that. And then around like day 5, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just told him like, I have another deal. I'm not going to be able to continue with this one.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah.
So he made it sound like, oh, I have something more important. I'm sorry, I've got this great deal. It's not good enough for me now. Okay, I'm such a big dog. I'm really just peeing myself over here because I don't know how to actually execute this contract. Okay.
Yeah.
So
like I said, I'm a real good talker on the phone, man. I'm a real good talker on the phone.
I'm all talk there. It's awesome. So you did put $1,000 in earnest money, so you let it go. So let's just be clear here. It's because you got in your head, Carlos.
Yeah.
Is that the truth?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you started doing these what if scenarios that could go wrong versus doing what you had to do, which was put $1,000 in and figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is gonna go into my first actual executed contract, which, as an entrepreneur and as, a real estate investor, never assume that you learned the first time. Never assume that you learned your lesson the first time, because you're going to fuck up and you're going to feel the same exact emotions again, and you're going to act the same way unless you talk to your mentors. And I wish I heard myself say this when I had my contract, because then I would have made more money. So do I go into my story, or do you want to talk a little bit more about my
I just want to recap on this because it's something that I want you guys to all take away, because the important part is here, he invested in his education. Mm-hmm. He challenged his education and he challenged his fears. He didn't let the price tag limit him, right? Yeah. And he found it virtually using resources. Craigslist is a free resource that every human that has internet access has access to. So why wouldn't someone put it on that site if they really wanted to sell it? If it's a free site and you're putting a multi-million-dollar property on Craigslist, do you think you're motivated to sell?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And was this being represented by an agent?
They were, but they were very motivated. So they literally gave me everything I wanted on my, any clause. There's no pushback. There was no fights. It was like, okay, yes, that's what you want. Okay, yes, that's what you want. Okay, yes. Oh, you want 40 days of DD? Okay, that's fine. You want 90 days to close? That's fine. Like you can literally, you have your way with them on the contract.
Like even I'm having palpitations thinking like, oh my God, wish you would have called me. I would have given you my credit card. It would have been fine. So I don't have a $13 million limit on it, but we would have gotten there with the force of night. Anyway, so you had this, you got this far, you were so close, and you became a wuss.
Yes.
You didn't put the money in. Instead of just asking for more time for the which they probably would have given you, it sounds like. But so you didn't reach out to your mentor, and you could have felt very defeated. I'm sure all of us have done this, and if you haven't done it, you're going to. You put an offer in, you get scared, you back off, and you have to like take those licks. It's almost worse and better if it's a larger number. It really is. Because at least you can say, hey, I tried, right? But but you're also really embarrassed because you did it in front of some big people and you're called out. I think you handled it pretty well. So you took some key things away from that experience. What was it?
Talk, ask questions.
Ask questions.
Don't sit on these things. Don't sit on those emotions that you're feeling. Even if you do it beforehand, and you don't have the contract executed yet, you're still waiting for them to sign it, the sellers to sign it, and you're already feeling that anxiousness, reach out to somebody, reach out to Jacob, reach out to one of your mentors, and just let them know what you're feeling, because I guarantee they've been through that, and they're going to tell you like, okay, well, just hold on tight, just wait it out, and we're going to figure this out. And I really wish I had done that, but like I said, you're going to keep feeling that throughout the course, and you have to always remind yourself to ask questions and to go back to your mentors. Never think you're going to be the big dog and that you're just going to be the biggest one, the best one to be able to do this stuff.
And when you are the big dog, find a new pack.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm only good at like 3 things, only one of which I can do in public. Okay. So that's what I'm doing here. I bring people together. I know strategy. I'm apparently building something that was really very cool, but I have smarter people than me that we all reach out to, right? Which is surprising to me because when I talk to other people, I'm like, oh wait, I guess I did learn something. So that does help. So you learn things from that first transaction. Did you put those lessons that you learned into play for your next deal?
To an extent.
To an extent.
Until the emotions caught up to me. Until I lost control. Until I lost control of the emotions.
Okay, Boo-Boo, we gotta start getting you meditating. So let's talk about
I was a puppy. I was a puppy back then.
You were 9.
I was 24. I was 24 when I was doing this shit.
I hate
Give me a
him.
break.
Right?
Can I just mute him? There's a window right behind you. Just jump out of it. It's fine. No, don't do it. I'm kidding. So you were a wee little tot, and you found your next deal. And tell us about that deal. How big?
I just came out of diapers. So my next deal, same. I found it on Craigslist. They were very motivated. It was 2 brothers whose father just passed away, and they wanted nothing to do with the property. So, the one thing I did really well on this one was before I started talking about numbers, I was asking the broker questions about why they were selling the property. And that's when I found out that the brothers they didn't want anything to do with it. They just wanted to sell it. They weren't interested in cap rate. They weren't interested in profit. They were just trying to get rid of it. And at the end of the day, each one wanted like a certain amount of money for it. So I was able to do the calculations with the commission that they were going to pay their broker, and I was able to get it at a price. I think I locked it down for like 1.25, something like that.
Million.
Yeah, 1.25 million. And it was because I was asking those questions ahead of time, right? Before, on my first deal, I was just so excited to start talking numbers that I would start throwing numbers out there and then ask questions like, oh, wait, hold on. I have a question. Why is it split up between so many different units, like different properties? And that has a lot to do with resale, right? If a property is not all on the same, or if these units aren't in the same property, someone else might not want to buy that. They might say like, no, that's not a good deal for me. I have too many other people involved in the building itself. So that's one thing I did really well on the second one. Ask a lot of questions ahead of time, and I didn't feel rushed, right? I knew I had time to negotiate. I knew that there's no one else talking to them. And I didn't feel rushed that I had to talk, like do the numbers, and within 48 hours have a contract executed. I really took my time. I think it from start to execution, it was about a week. So,
Wait a minute. From the start of your negotiations to the signed contract took a week.
Yeah.
How many hours did you work on it that week?
Well, so when I contacted them, my first email, I asked as much information as at first, right? I have a little copy and paste email.
Wait a minute. You create a system?
Well, it's actually, I got it from you, so just follow Jacob.
Thank you for that. I love a shameless plug that I don't ask for. Just saying, guys. Hello, Dustin. You look amazing right now. Love your hair. So right now we're learning how awesome I am via
as a mentor.
Although he's doing amazingly, I didn't do this, but keep going, getting you caught up. Keep going, buddy. So yeah,
okay.
You sent an email, you kept a template, you asked questions. Go on.
Yeah. So my email template's super short. It's, hey, I'm interested in your property. Please send me your profit and loss, any financials, your rent roll, and any other information you have. Blank, to the point. And with the information they sent me the first time, I plugged that into the spreadsheet right away. Once I had those numbers and I could kind of get an idea of what the property is looking like, then I called them up, talked to them about once or twice a day, got the whole story out of them, got more information, more financials. Obviously, they don't give you everything at once, but they do give you enough to make an educated, informed decision on the property. And then I started negotiating. I don't remember the dates, but let's just say that I started on a Sunday. Probably by like Thursday, I put my first offer in, which was like $1 million, and they weren't going to go for that. They countered at $1.3 million. I countered at $1.1 million. One thing I remember, I forget if it was Pip or somebody from the elite courses, and they said if your first offer doesn't get you cussed out or doesn't piss them off, it's way too high.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I go. I do 20%, and then I just take off a little number, and I just take off a little more to make it a nice rounded number. So we started negotiating the price. Once I had the price down, once they said, okay, we'll do this price, I agreed to the price, it worked for me. Then I gave them all my clauses. So once I had the price, I said, okay, perfect, send me the contract you want. They sent it over blank. I filled it out, and I just attached all my clauses to it. And one thing I found is that they get caught up on the due diligence period and the closing dates. So that kind of lets you slide in a bunch of stuff on the clauses, because if you can piss them off on those two things, they forget about the clauses. So why are you laughing?
I just had water.
He's laughing because it's ingenious. He's laughing because that's ingenious.
So true. Like that's the thing. Like if you say, I want to have I want 6 months for due diligence. Like what? But they're not going to mind about the assignment clause that's in there, or like I want to make sure I keep the television or whatever else. Like make asinine about it. Because in the commercial, you can sometimes get furniture included and different deeds for parking like different things built. It's so interesting what you can do. But it's true. They want it done quickly, and they don't want you jerking them around on price and time. Because time is money, right? And also money is money. So those two things, right? So the rest of it, they're like, they don't give a damn about the tables that are in the room. But you can slip it in if that's a continuum, right? I hope you guys are paying attention, because this is exactly what, let's recap something real quick before we go on. He took his time and built a relationship. He stayed in touch with them once or twice a day for about 5-6 days. Notice how when I tell you guys it takes 8 touches before people start to trust you? Between his initial contact, 1 to 2 times a day for 5 days is at least 6 touches, and that's if he does 1 a day. So if he did 2 a couple of days, well, guess what? He was over that 8-touch threshold. Now they look at his number on their phone and they recognize it, even though they don't save it. And you know you do that too, don't you? You don't save everybody's phone number even though you know the person, because it just takes those extra 2 seconds to hit add new contact, type their name in, find their email. Too much work. I'll just go through my chat history and see who they are. Oh, look, it's the guy that wants to buy my house. Okay, my apartment building. It's the same idea, right? Yeah, you know you've done that. Admit it. All of y'all. Admit it. Not just me. It cannot just be me. Thank you, Justin. I know you're doing it. So guilty, love you. Thank you, Autumn. So he created a relationship for a week before he put out the first number. Because he was putting out a number that he knew that they could work with or counter with, they were open to countering because they knew he was serious. He had invested a week's worth of his time into making that offer. It wasn't just fly by the seat of your pants. Does that make sense? It made his time that he put into it worth it, because then he got his contract signed. He got it. He agreed on the number. They agreed on that. Then he got the contract. He took control of filling out the contract. So he put everything in, which frankly, if it's a residential property, I don't care because they're lower numbers and whatever. But if it's a bigger deal, I will take control of the contract because I want to make sure I know what negotiated pieces I'm putting in there. And that's exactly what he did. So what were some of the contingencies you put in?
Well, to start, my first contract was $100 earnest money. And then, like I said, brokers, no offense, Jacob, but brokers.
I'm not a typical broker. Keep going.
Okay, but like they're kind of, I don't know if they're trained on this, but they see like 3 different parts on the contract and they get hung up on those 3 things.
Yep.
And before this one, I had sent probably like 50 contracts before this one to just kind of like test out that, feel how it feels to send out a contract. So I would get responses from brokers and they all responded to the same 3 things on any contract. And I was kind of just putting the pieces together. I'm like, okay, so they're only going to hang up on the earnest money, how long your due diligence is, and how long till close. Like those are the 3 things they get hung up on. And if you can mind fuck them in those 3, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't give a damn, but we'll edit it out in post-production. By the way, you also have a podcast. We'll be talking that later. So when we do a podcast, we just have to make sure kids aren't around to listen to it. Sorry, Leanne. Keep going.
So, if you can get them angry at those 3 things, you can have your way with the rest of the contract. And, you offer $100 earnest money on $1 million property, they will literally call you up and be like, are you high? What is this? And my best, one thing that I've always been really good at is diffusing situations. So when they call me up all pissed off, I make them feel bad for being angry. And I'll just be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm at $1,000. I'm sorry. And then they like switch that mindset because then they feel like assholes for yelling at me when it was a mistake. And then you could, and then it's like more control of the whole situation where you can just kind of like manipulate them to accept your clauses. So yeah, all that to say that in my clauses, I have the standard sheet of clauses. I don't know that they gave us in the elite training, where I'm gonna give $1,000. Maybe after that, I'll give you more money. Maybe I can show the property I can inspect it. I can list it. If my partner doesn't agree, I can pull out without penalty, and I get my deposit back, which is my favorite clause in the world because my dog is my partner and she kind of agrees with me at any time. Anything I say.
Give me a kiss if you want in. Give me a kiss if you want out.
Yeah. So do you want the ham if you want the property, or do you want the newspaper if you don't want it? You pick. So, I just have.
So, can I just ask you something? I mean, as a realtor, first of all, you're lucky you got responses. I've done so many offers and not even gotten a response. So you're ahead of the game. But the other thing is, how did you get away without putting in with the offer a pre-qual or a proof of funds letter? I mean, sometimes they don't even let you into that price house without that information.
And
like I said, I'm really good at talking. You're really good at talking.
You need to come down here. Jacob,
So,
the one I wanted to offer on, that's the problem I had, and it's still up for sale a month later.
So with commercial, typically they don't ask you for a pre-qual letter because you're not pre-qualified to buy a commercial property. So they kind of based off of like what they can perceive of you. So if you come into the conversation, when you first talk to them, you're certain about yourself, you're certain about the questions that you're asking about the property. You're making strong questions and you have strong responses to them. They typically will just be like, okay, you're going to finance $2 million, $15 million. That's going to be financed. So they'll typically just be like, okay, well, if you're confident in what you're saying, I'm assuming that you've done this before, and they just go with the flow. And, if you come in, my first time I talked to a broker, the first time I talked to someone, it was for a fourplex in LA. And I was literally like, I was reading off of a list of questions and they can tell I was reading. So he was just like, yeah, I don't have time for this. And he hung up on me. So, that's when I learned, okay, you can't be hesitant. You have to know what questions you're going to ask. You have to know how to answer. And you have to just be certain about what you're asking and how you are, right? You just have to be confident. And when you ask a question, or if they ask a question and you don't know the answer to it, or you can't answer it, always say, my partner's in charge of that. And I'll get an answer from him in a bit and I'll call you back.
I'm so damn proud right now. I'm so, okay, 1 second. I just want to make sure you guys heard that. It's okay not to know something. It's how you spin it. Now, there are a couple of you in here who are really good actors or actresses. I mean, you guys fake certain things all the time. So the rest of it, why can't you fake this? Oh, I don't know that answer is one thing to say, that's my partner's side. Let me give him a call and I'll call you back.
Yeah.
Let me ask you don't say, let me call my mentor. That's going to be like our amateur. Maybe say, let me call my partner. That's his section. That's his expertise. I'll call you right back. Or give me a couple days. I'll call you right back. I'll call you back with that answer. Whatever it is. It just shows that it's how you present yourself. So much about what we do when we make offers is how we present ourselves. Your presentation is everything. Go in confident, even though you're peeing yourself, right? And he was confident because he took the time this time to understand their pain points, do what he was able to do, and if it didn't work out, he could walk away. They still needed to sell. He didn't have to buy. Yeah. You guys have to remember that. That's the biggest part of it. They need to sell. You don't have to buy.
Yeah.
Right? So keep that in mind. They don't know what cards you have in your hand. You don't know all the cards that they have in theirs, but because you know what they're asking, who their team is, when they want to close, you're getting more information about each one of their cards than they are about yours.
Yeah.
So you're able to predict their moves in a way. See what I'm saying? So what Salomon's doing is he's literally manipulating the situation and navigating the transaction into his favor.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of that's because he's been in an entrepreneurial family for so long. So that's a big part of it. But still, it's a skill that you can learn.
Yeah.
It just takes practice and role playing.
Yeah.
So keep going, Solomon.
And you know what? If you're starting out, right? Maybe you don't know technical terms on commercial real estate yet, right? Or you just still haven't really figured out what the hell a cap rate is or how to calculate all that. So a real simple way to get information without showing your cards is start asking questions. And when they ask you what your position is, are you like, how much money you have, all that stuff, just, there's no shame in not being capital, in not being the capital or not being like the lead front man, right? So just say, you know what, that's not my role. I'm just collecting information from my partner, from my business partner. Once I have it, he'll evaluate it and we'll get back to you. Such a simple thing, because then they know, okay, well, whoever that guy is must be really big time if he has someone else calling me to get information to make these deals.
That was you just said was so key. The power of a team, maybe you don't have one, but you guys do. In commercial transactions, take multiple people, and the commercial teams are usually have lots of people, so they don't know how big it is. They don't need to know. It's already assumed, right? Yeah. The same thing can happen in residential, but it's just the brokers' mentalities are slightly more savvy. Is the word that keeps coming to mind. But keep going.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to not be the lead man. Right? You get more information not being the lead man than you do the other way.
I got to tell my boss things all the time. Hey, my boss, my boss, it's great. My boss, sure, like, how you doing? That's my dog.
Yeah. I mean, my boss never agrees on their price ever. So, he's kind of an asshole.
God, right. Hey, don't be just a messenger. My boss is a jerk. He wants you to drop another 20 grand.
Yeah. He didn't like the way he talked to me, so he wants 10% off. So where was I? So I built up that rapport. I got the contract. I got all my clauses in. I had everything I wanted, right? So once I executed, and this is part of like having that really good rapport and like having a really good relationship with the brokers, they would sending me information, literally the day I asked for it, I would have everything I needed. So with the executed contract came all their financials, all their taxes, everything that they could possibly offer me. It came in the same email. So within the same day, I was already doing the actual numbers for the property. I was seeing their actual rent rolls. I was seeing their actual leases, their actual contracts. And from there, this is one of the things I learned from the other property, right? Now I had an idea of what to do with it. Now it's like, okay, I have a property. I had 5 days to do my earnest money. So I took those 5 days to make a really good plan of how I'm going to sell this property. I knew I wasn't going to buy it. So I took those 5 days and I made the offer memorandum. I made it really nice. I put all the information that I thought an investor would want to know. I put preliminary financials because I had a friend that does commercial financing. So I asked him, I was like, hey, can you give me a breakdown of how to finance this property?
Oh, wait a minute. You mean you use your power team?
Exactly.
And your power team was actually a friend of yours? Did you already have this person before you started investing in real estate?
No, I met him through the meetups.
Oh, you mean you actually put yourself out there with other professionals in the real estate industry that you would possibly do business with? Okay, I'm just making sure we're on the same page, right?
Yeah.
No.
One thing about meetups, don't go in there saying you're a wholesaler.
Oh my God, I love you so much. Because continue.
Every time I'm at a meetup and I greet someone and I ask them what they do, what they specialize in, 90% of the room's like, I'm a wholesaler, and I'll find you any property you want. I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
amateur.
Let me get your number, and I'm never gonna call you.
My people will call you.
Yeah, and then I talk to other people, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm an investor. I look for these type of properties, and because they say that, I'm like, okay, I can have a conversation with you. We talk about different topics. We talk about different properties. We talk about certain things. And through that report, I figure it out already. I'm like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He has some pretty interesting properties. He finds pretty good deals. This is someone I want to have a conversation with and I want to have in contact with. I'm going to put his number in my phone. I'm not going to collect his business card. So don't go in there saying you're a wholesaler. Go in there, you're an investor first and foremost. And don't be afraid to share your knowledge with people. Don't be afraid to share what you know, because that's how you're going to get better contacts. So I had the contract. We're ready to go. I put up the offer memorandum. I sent my earnest money wired. And now I had 45 days to sell this property. I put it up on LoopNet. I was starting to give offers, questions about it right away. There's a lot of interest in it, but I had the contract for 1.25 and I put it up for 1.5. So
Okay.
when I was doing that, I was doing one calculation wrong and I had flipped the numbers accidentally. So I didn't have a true cap, like the true cap rate. And then like 10 days passed by and I kept looking at this number. I'm like, this just looks weird. Like something about this spreadsheet looks wrong. So I ended up redoing the whole spreadsheet and I found my error. And then I found out that I was actually selling it at like 9 point something. And I was like, oh no, that's way too high. So then I was able to put the price up to like 2.2. So I had $1 million spread on that. So I finally found a guy to buy it, but this is already like 30 days into my 45 days, right? And this is where I'm telling you guys, the same emotions are going to come back, the same feelings, all that fear is going to start coming back to you when you encounter something new and you need to reach out to your mentors. So all this time I'm talking to my mentors and I'm like, okay, how do I market? What do I tell them? How we go about this? So when I get my contract, this was like day 33, something like that. And I freak out. So I get my seller's contract for like 1.8 million, something like that. 1.8 million. And I freaked out because I only had 10 days left on my contract. They just had a new 30-day contract. So, and the sellers were asking for more earnest money to keep the deal going, right? Although it was never in the contract, it was never agreed upon anywhere in writing. And this is where that fear came in. Does emotion start running in? You forget to ask people for help. You forget to ask your mentors what to do. And you let the fear take over. And that's where you start messing up. That's where you start making mistakes. So I wasted about 3-4 days in just fear. Like every day I was just overthinking it again, panicking. I could like physically, mentally see that wall coming in of like my time finishing. And because I never talked to my mentor and I never asked anybody for help, I ended up calling the buyer up and I was like, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I need you to pick up this contract. I will give it to you for $100,000. You're going to buy the property at 1.35 with my wholesale fee. And they were just like, yes, of course, definitely. Like no questions asked. And I was like, but you have to close in like 3 days. Like you have to finish out my contract how it is. You have like 3 days of due diligence and then you have like 15 days to close after that. And they're like, all right, deal. We could do that. Because they were like they were a bigger group in Texas. So they sold it. Gave me my $100,000 and then they bought it for 1.3 something, right?
So let's recap this.
Yeah, so
Let's unpack this for everybody. Because right now, you guys just got a lot and then some numbers thrown in there and then some mind stuff. Let's all make sure we're on the same page.
give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, you go pee.
Keep going. I can hear you.
That's fine. Just make sure you mute yourself when you flush and wash your hands. It's
I will.
COVID and sanitary.
I
So,
will.
how are they still here? Okay, I'll go ahead and mute him because I don't know what he's doing. So let's go ahead and unpack what he just said. Oh, he's back. That really was, I'm glad that came out okay. So let's talk about what he just talked about. Notice that he got further in the transaction. He had developed skills and he was sharpening them throughout the process, right? It didn't come out of the box that way. He had to work on them. So he got better at the negotiation. You can tell he likes to talk. He talks very well. We all can see that now. He was able to talk himself into a deal where he didn't have enough money to do things through. He got everything going. Awesome. He didn't calculate something correctly. So he didn't have someone else's eyes on the numbers. He didn't use his mentor at that stage to tell him what to do. Now, keep in mind, a second pair of eyes is always refreshing because they can see things that you can't because they're removed from the situation.
Yeah.
So they can say, oh, well, you did this. A lot of times they'll go, oh, that was really cool. Good job. That was well done here. I like what you're doing here. Or they'll go, well, why did you do this? Tell me. Okay, well, this is something you might run into because of that. And they'll just give you scenarios. When you start working with your mentor, it's not like a subservient role. Okay, it's not. A mentor is someone that's bringing you up. They know you don't know what they do, and you're asking them for help. They're giving back. You're equal to your mentor. They just know something that you don't, right? It's just a theory. Okay, so they're trying to give that to you. It's not a problem to ask for help. They want you to use them. Because I bet you, when his mentor found out that he made $100,000 on his deal, they're like, awesome, you lost $400,000, you idiot, why didn't you call me? Like, it's a bittersweet moment, right? But they always are. They always are. So, because there are always things to learn. So he screwed up his time frame. He screwed up his calculation. He adjusted the price to make up for it. So in order to get the contract done, in order to get the deal done, he recognized his flaw and he ate his profit. Now, he still made $100,000 on a transaction. His first wholesale transaction, his second contract that he found on Craigslist in a different state than he lived, without a license, and he still made $100,000 in the span of how many months? That's actually a question.
No, this was like a month and a half, like no more than 2 months.
Okay, 2 months worth of work. He made $50,000 a month, where he would have
actually it was 2 months and a week exactly. Because I got it in January and this closed off in like May and March. Yeah.
You poor thing. So he made $100,000 off of a wholesale transaction by putting the people together, right? So he had it, even though it was being represented by a real brokerage, he still got rights to sell it and market it. He put it on LoopNet, which is incredible to me. And then he still found and located the buyer, got everything together. He just had to do what he had to do to close the deal. Now, he lost. I mean, if he did it with $100,000, can you imagine what he would have done with $400,000? It's kind of impressive. But he got the deal done, right? Which is awesome. What would have happened had he just... Actually, what would have happened had he asked his mentor? What do you guys think would have happened?
I know the answer.
I know.
I already talked to you about it.
This goes so many ways, right? So class, unmute yourself and think, what do you think? Let's say that, what would you have done differently now that you know the scenario? If you were his mentor, what would you have said to him?
Why didn't you call me sooner?
That was a good one. Did you hear that? Why didn't you call me sooner? Yes, that's going to be a blanket statement for everybody. Why didn't you call me sooner? That one we're going to just say that's an automatic given. Well done, Derek. He's participating. Anybody else? What would you think? What would you have told him to do? Leanne, especially from the financing side, right? There are some things I'm wondering to see how you can, Nelson, What would you have said? What would you have done differently, Leanne? What would you have told him to do?
Sorry, your question is about what? Financing the deal?
Yes, because remember his problem was closing and getting the time to close, right? Because he had 2 contracts. He could have closed anyway for the amount he wanted, right? But he would have to extend the contract, or he would have had to do something else. I'm trying to see if you guys can put it together.
I don't know, maybe another exit strategy that he could have think of besides wholesaling.
Yes, yes, but it's you're close, but it's not exactly that. It's a part of wholesaling.
Or part of wholesaling.
Yeah, it's a part of wholesaling. There you go.
What?
That's exactly it. A double close, right? So in order to do a double close, Salomon would have been able to, he would have to buy the property and actually own the property for a period of time. And then he would have had to sell the property to the end user. And then that way, the end user has no idea how much he made because he actually owned the property at that time for a period of time. So it would have just been a totally separate transaction. Yes, there would have been
Until they check their taxes.
closing fees and stuff like that. Whatever, who cares if the numbers are big enough? Doesn't matter. But now that he's done that, what happens next? So in order for him to close the first time, and he still had 20 days before his buyers wanted to execute, during that 20-day period, how would he have acquired that property? So right in front of your face, guys.
I mean, couldn't you have just called a private money and gotten private money to support him just for those 20 days and then paid a small interest? Well, not small, but an interest payment on it?
You could have done points. That's called transactional funding, right?
Yep.
So they'll let you use their money for a period of time. Usually it's short, no more than 30 days typically. They charge a point or 2 points, which is 1 or 2% of the amount you're borrowing. So if he was borrowing 1.2 million,
1.2,
he would have paid $120,000 when he closed on the transaction. But he would have gotten the full $400,000 spread. Was that $400,000 spread, right?
No,
So, well, he had negotiated.
No, 600,000.
600,000. So he would have gotten $480,000. Dear God, my brain dancer. He would have gotten $480,000 versus the 100,000. You see that?
Yeah.
He would have had to pay more, but he would have taken more in. So transactional funding is awesome. So if you have money laying around, right? If you're someone that has money laying around, and you have someone like Salomon going, hey, I got this deal, this is my hiccup, I need to do double close, this is what I've got. You want to get on this with me? This is what I'm looking for. Then Leanne's like, yes, I've got 1.2 million laying around. I can fund this immediately, and I'm going to take a point when you actually close. And you can, again, everything's negotiable. There's so many ways you can go about doing this. But then guess who wins? Leanne would have gotten her 1.2, $120,000 off of it, right? He would have gotten his fee for doing all the work, putting it together, and then he would be able to move on. Now, what he did was actually smart. He didn't let the deal die, and that lesson is now going to be immortalized forever on this show on YouTube. So now he can share the lessons he learned with everyone. And now he knows the value of the double.
You can also do a JV for this deal as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could have. So why, let me ask you this, why? So Leanne, why don't you think, Salomon, don't answer, why don't you think he did not do that?
Panic, fear.
Panic, fear.
Yeah, if it's such a huge amount, I'll be in the same shoe.
You just did a $13 million contract 3 weeks before, right? So like, it's 1.2 million pennies. It's not a big deal. But you're right. Fear and confusion on the way, which means that he forgot what he knew.
Yeah.
When your mind is racing, you can't hear your mind give you solutions when it's asking all the questions.
Yeah.
So you have to quiet those questions. You have to learn to take time, meditate, call your mentors, reach out to your database, and brainstorm. Have mind sex, right? Where you're mentally, to Salomon's example, you're mentally fucking each other to come up with the right idea and come up with a solution. right?
Yeah.
Now, here's my other suggestion. He had only been doing this for a short period of time. He had a commercial lender in place. Solomon, did you ask your commercial lender if he had any transactional funding available, or did you think to ask him?
No, because I was panicked.
Did you think to ask anyone?
No, because I was panicked.
Right? You were panicked, right?
Yeah, I was panicked. And like, you know how you said, right? You can't find a solution because you're so worried on the problem. And, you know, when you're in that moment, you know, looking back on it, I can find a million different ways I could have gone about it, still made the deal work, still made the time. As simple as calling them up and be like, hey, I need an extension on my close. Like, that's it. That I could have got my extra days, literally asking them, I need more days. Like, that was it.
That's way.
That would have been the easiest way to do it. But I was so nervous, I was so panicked that it was all gonna fall apart. I was gonna have to owe money, that I panicked and I let it go for, you know, pennies on a dollar. So, you know, that's really one thing, right? When you're in it, you have to find a way to calm your mind, you know, settle yourself, and, you know, remove yourself from the whole situation. Go on a run, go do something that will completely remove yourself and give you time to talk to somebody. Because literally, like a week after, I talked to like 15 different people, and all of them gave me a new way to, like, where I could have made it work. And I was just like, oh, thank you for that. Where were you last week? And they're like, well, you've known me for 3 months. I don't know why you didn't text me.
That's the thing. People know, because you're only a part of the transaction.
Yeah.
The assets are another part of the transaction. The other parties in the transaction are another part of the transaction. The lenders are a part of the transaction. You don't have to put every pressure on you. Let someone else come in, see what you're building, assess their risk in the transaction, and be a part of it, and determine what their percentage of the deal is going to be theirs based on what they want on their position. So that sounds really, really technical. So go back and listen to it, because I don't want to change it. It's actually pretty good. I got to remember that. Let other people determine what's a deal for them. Okay? So that is huge. This is the thing I want you guys to understand. If you're worried about losing money when you're investing, let me put your fears at ease. You will.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how educated you are, you're going to lose money. Okay? You're not going to win. Oh, hi, buddy. You're too darn cute. Hi. Hi. What's his name?
John Paul.
Hi, John Paul. You're so cute. Oh, he's adorable. Oh my God. How old is he?
He'll be 3 in December.
Oh, that's a funny.
He just woke up from a nap, so.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing now. So you're going to lose money, and that's fine. You know what? If I met an investor that didn't lose money, you know what I would worry about? He was a con artist. That's actually how they caught, what's his name? Bernie Madoff, because he never lost money.
Yep.
It's not natural. Markets move in waves. So should your profit margin. Okay, yeah. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, and you want that, guys. It should look like your portfolio should look like a heartbeat. You up, you down, you up, you down. It shows you're alive, right? It shows you're paying attention to your business. If you don't lose money, you're not going to learn how to make more, right? So no matter how good you get, you're going to have to adapt. So as we are going through this process, notice Solomon made $100,000 and he lost money. What? Yes. He made 100 grand. He made more than some of you make in a year in 2 months, and yet he lost money. Solomon, are you upset about that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
but did it pay your bills?
Oh, of course.
He lost money because he left it on the table.
Yeah.
In the investor world, losing money is the equivalent of not capitalizing on an opportunity. That's what it means. When you're on the left side of the quadrant, where you're in the employee or small business owner side, and everything's about you and your money, I was hoping you point out to it. When you're on that side, losing money means literally losing the money that you worked for. It's your funds. And that is stressful. When you're on the other side and you lose money, that just means you didn't totally capitalize an opportunity. And that's what you learn from. And you welcome that.
Yeah.
Right? We just reposition failure in a way that we're going to get somewhere better. Yeah. He's not going to make that mistake twice.
No. Now I'm going to ask questions. And now I do ask questions, you know, even when I think they're so simple and basic questions, if I have any doubt in my answer to that question, I will reach out to like 5 different people and I'll be like, hey, what's your input here? And, you know, it's the good thing is that they're all from different parts of real estate, right? So I'll talk to financiers, I'll talk to independent investors, I'll talk to real estate attorneys. So I'll ask everybody their opinion on it because each one will have a different point of view. And with their point of views, I can make a better picture, right? And that's really my biggest lesson in all of this was now any doubt I have, if I'm not 100% sure in my answer to a question, I will ask anybody. I'll start asking around to get that certainty in my solution.
You mean communication gets you somewhere? What the hell?
And you know, how Jacob asked me about losing that money, right? Be careful on who you're talking to when you go through these challenges. Because immediately I was starting to share this, like I tell this story all the time because, you know, now it's a lesson. Now I can laugh at it. But if I tell people that are on this side of the quadrant, they're just like, well, you never lost that money because you never had it. When I talk to these people, they're like, oh my God, how did you lose that much money? And that's actually a really big difference in how you see your business and your transactions, right? Because these, like the people on this side are just always going to be like, well, it was never in your pocket. It was never in your bank account. It was never yours. When you talk to investors, you talk to business owners, they understand, well, the capitalization of a deal has a lot of value to it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can make $1 million, but if you left 5 million on the table, right? Like what's the difference? There's actually a really, have you seen War Dogs? Has anyone here seen War Dogs?
I have not.
No? There's a scene where they're bidding on a contract and they underbid the next guy by like 52 million. And he's all pissed off because he lost he left 52 million on the table. And his partner's like, but you know, we gave the taxpayers a discount. Think of it that way. Like, and he was just like, he's like, fuck the taxpayers. I want my 52 million.
Let me put it in another way that's actually very, very clear for everybody here. He lost $400,000 of his net worth in that deal.
Yeah.
Do you see that? That's where it hurts. Yes, he walked out with I'm glad he learned that lesson early on. First of all, there are several things I'm very proud of him for. And I've been waiting to have him on this call. I've been thinking about it for a while. I was waiting for the right time. Now that we're moving into something bigger, I wanted to bring him on. But I want you guys to look at some things that he did so well. First and foremost, he recognized that the theory is the same if you're doing a mobile home or even selling a car as doing a commercial property. It's the same thing. You buy it correctly, you sell it better. Better. The money's in the buy. And he knew the numbers wouldn't lie. His emotions got in the way and he had to experience that. But he experienced it on a larger scale. So then when he actually learned to go forth, he kept going. He didn't stop. He still went for numbers that were big for him and he actually profited, but he still lost. You can both win and lose at the same time. Right? That didn't stop him. He has kept going. All right? Now, because of all of this that he's gone on, he now knows the value of relationships. He has a story. Him sharing that knowledge, tell you what, guys, this is the craziest part. I want you to think this. He's not hiding from the shame that he lost his first transaction. He's wearing it. He's talking about it. And because of that, tell me this. Do you trust him more or less because he owned up to something he learned? Go on. Do you trust him more or less?
More.
More. Okay, so we have a lot of people down there saying more. Okay, so he learned something, he shared it, now he won't do it again. I am more likely to want to do business with him. So why are you scared to make a mistake? If you have this feeling, why won't other people have it for you? If you put your all into something and you work your ass off and you can show it and you still up, and I caught myself, and you still screw up, do you think people will actually value your expertise more?
You know what? I've actually made better connections off of that story than any other things. Because now at a real estate mixer or when I'm talking to other investors and I share that story with them, the majority of the time they'll be like, oh my God, next time reach out to me. And they give me their personal contacts. Because everyone has like a business phone, a Google phone, and then they have their personal one. They're like, oh, next time just call me up or text me, and then they give me their personal direct line. So I have a better connection with them to be able to make more deals. And, whether I use them in the future or not depends, but you have that connection with them.
Directly in their phone. It's
Yeah.
not even like a card anymore. It's like directly in the phone. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, yeah, sure. That's awesome. I'm going to make sure I can stay in contact with you. It's awesome. Not my first deal. My first several deals, I was working on, I was like, well, I had to get out of my own way. So I worked on huge transactions that I happened to come across that were incredible just to push me. And then it got to the point where I got embarrassed. That's because it was my own insecurities. I'm actually not embarrassed now, but working on a portfolio of luxury hotels, private islands, foreclosed casinos. There were all these things I worked on just to stretch myself. And they were like hundreds of millions of dollars just to try it out. Because even if I got 0.025% of that deal, I would have been set, right? It would have done amazing things for me. And I still will. We are going to. But it was that tenacity, that refusal to give up, that brought me a lot of confidence and insight. It doesn't mean I had everything else going. In fact, I find single family much harder. There's so much more emotion involved. There's a lot more it's so emotional. Ugh.
You get these sob stories, like my children grew up here, my whole family grew up here, and you're just like, but I still want that discount.
So
you're like,
yeah, it's only worth this to me. I appreciate you. It's harder.
It's hard.
I don't understand why. Now, for me, again, I've admitted this to the group. My hard part is numbers. Calculations are harder for me. I am really strong at rapport building, right? As you guys are aware. Salomon is great at the negotiation side of it. Continue to report. His numbers are done by spreadsheets, which I screwed mine up. I need to have those fixed. Nelson. So you have spreadsheets that can do this stuff, and it's all the same calculations. You just have to put the time in, guys. This has been so much fun. Salomon, you have your podcast, Retired at 25, correct?
Yes.
Where can they find it?
So it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Retired 25, just how it sounds. You can also find the links. I just posted in the chat my LinkedIn, my Linktree link. You can find all my links to all my businesses, my personal links, my Instagram, everything's in there. So if you want to reach out. What's that?
What the hell is that? Yeah, Stephanie, get that link. We got to do that. If that's a thing, we got to do that.
Linktree. You don't use Linktree?
I don't know what Boo, I don't even have time to tie my shoes. I wear flip-flops these days. You think I know what Linktree is?
Such a Floridian.
Yeah, that's right. It's so Florida. You're jealous.
No, Linktree is where you can consolidate all your links into one place.
Well, that could be good to know. How many of you guys are glad to learn that? Just me? Okay.
I already knew it.
Yeah.
Where to hold that
So,
back?
Say hi again.
yeah, go ahead, just click on there. I'll post it on the Facebook video of this. I'll post it on there. If you want to reach out to me directly, my number is +1 323 472 0719. I'm sorry about saying +1. I'm in Colombia, so I'm just kind of used to having to specify the country code. But yeah, reach out to me, text me, Instagram, whatever you want to reach out. And, any questions, anything I can help with. I'm not the most intelligent one out there, but sure. I can definitely share with you what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, and everything else. That was cold, Jacob. That was cold.
Put your number in the chat box. Something else I want you guys to. So this is really interesting because I thought I'm really glad this went as well as it did because it's more interesting. That was again his first foray into real estate. I'm going to have him back to talk about how he went from real estate into paper. And he did it in an incredibly quick period of time because he learned the rules. And that's where we're going to be going. When I say paper, I mean things like creating and selling notes. Notes are like mortgages, all right? So how we get into that. It's an awesome side of real estate. So many people don't understand it. They don't know what to do with it. It is an incredible space, right? It's the best. I love notes. That's why I'm like, hey. And when I tell you guys my first transactions were actually mobile home notes that I sold in bulk, that was so cool to learn. And so that's why I want you guys to see this stuff. Something that drives me crazy when my sellers for residential properties won't do the note. I'm like, you don't understand how much money you're leaving on the table. They don't get it. But then I end up out talking myself up a listing, whatever. But we'll get there. So I'm not a very good agent, but I'm a great broker. Anyway, Wednesday, we are going to have a very special guest coming on, talking about how he has taken his financial literacy that he has invested in from his own past into helping other people in his field, which is the personal fitness field. We're also going to be seeing how we're going to use that in the dance industry. So I want you guys, if you have friends who are in the dance industry or who are in the fitness industry, or really if their body is how they make money, and if they were to break their leg, would not be able to make a living, you know who they are right now because they're sitting at home depressed, eating bonbons and bitching on Facebook. Invite them to the call on Wednesday. It's going to be very inspirational. Nelson is going to be on my Life the Party. So he's going to be our little host for that. Then on Friday, we are going to have our market update, and we have, who's else on Friday? We have something else on Friday. I forgot where it is. I erased the board. So Friday, we have our market update. Come and see what we're doing with that. Also, the special announcement I was going to give you guys today, it's ironic that we lost Carlos because this was going to be about him. We now have the link for Aaron Adams Education. So for those of us who are in Quarantine Survivor, you're going to get your own link tomorrow night. For those of you who are a member of Investor Party, you can go under resources shortly, and you'll be able to get access to his Real Estate 101 training for free. For $99 if you're an Investor Party. If you're in Quarantine Survivor, you're going to have your own promo code. All the instructions are going to be there on the platform. So go ahead and do that in the next hour. Yay! Surprise. So we're doing that now. So we're growing, guys. It's happening so quickly. I'm so excited. Salomon, I've got the best team. I did not expect this to happen, but everyone you see here on this call, amazing human beings. I am so lucky to know them. We are going to change the world. I'm so excited for this. So guys, you'll have that as well on Investor Party. We did the calls. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, go ahead and do so. Yes, for those of you who are interested, we are now opening our second Sherlock's Holmes Foundation house in Colorado Springs. Miss Jessica Laney is going to be one of our hosts. So she is, right? I'm so excited. She wants to help change the world too. So we are going, the power of the gays unite. Dear Lord, yes. And allies, not just, but everyone. We are going to be going to Colorado Springs as a tribe if you'd like to join us. The week of September 4th, that's after Memorial Day. If you would like to join us, just let us know. Let us know you're going to arrive. We're going to be staying for, I'm probably till the 13th, but we're going to go there. We're going to help remodel the home and start putting the process into putting the shared housing strategy into place. You can see what I have to do to get that done. You can see what we have to do for the home. For those of you who are interested in actually doing it, I'm trying to focus here. Writing hookers and stuff on the chat box, it just keeps stopping this. I'm gonna have to disable that, you're right. You can come on it, Nelson. You can actually come on. We can help support each other as a actual community and help see our vision through. I'm so excited about that. We have a lot to do. So even if you can't make it to Colorado Springs physically, and you still want to participate and help out, please let me know. We have a list of things that we need that we can have, that can be done from the computer. I'm not looking. That we can have done from the computer, that we can do for the comfort of your own home. That autumn you can do from Hawaii if you so choose. So yay for everybody. We're gonna get this done and we are going to keep on moving. I don't think there's anything else I need to mention at this time. Make sure if you haven't done your KPIs from last week, I'm gonna kick your assets. So get those in. That being said, Salomon, thank you so much for being here. You are awesome as ever, my friend. And
thank you.
Be safe, be blessed, be fabulous. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, now I want to see what that